Welcome to One More Today, and welcome to Classical China Era. And I have been covering throughout this year Paleolithic, Neolithic, Equestrian, now finally Classical China. And I would say probably if you refer to the Chineseness, Classical China probably is the forefront that you're going to see because we know like Confucius, Taoism, or that very classical Chinese thinking philosophy all originated from this era. Because this era, after the establishment of a big piece of land of governing, started from Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor in China. Actually, Qin Shi Huang probably in China, it started 200 BC, something like that. And then once the first dynasty, this one man singular, rule a whole piece of land, which used to be different regions and have regional warlords or leaders. And then this one man controlled all of them, have to set up the system to be able to govern a way bigger piece of land because thanks to the horse technology, that because of that, then the whole society was organized based on this one man ruling all. So yesterday we talked about a Jun ruler. We start off the classical era talking about this one man. Then today we're going to talk about the counterpart of the ruler, which is Chen. Okay, Chen. I translate as a minister. And you see, simplified traditional and ancient times, 2000 years ago's dictionary looks almost the same, except like here we sharpen the corner to make it a rectangle, as Chinese today known to be a rectangular character language. But in ancient times, we do have curves. You see curves here. You have curves here. If you want to draw it on, I don't know, a graphic software, it's going to have certain radius over there. It's not a sharp corner. So this actually doesn't mean minister. Back then, when it was first invented, it actually means slave, in particular, male slave. And we also, of course, have female slave, which eventually incorporated into domestic space to become concubines. But here, the male slave eventually incorporated into the courtroom of the ruler. So somebody who service the ruler to rule, to help rule the country. And of course, one man can only do so much, right? The political power wielding, if you say, would be through these ministers who carry out the different orders from the ruler. So, minister, this male slave concept, came from the I position. Isn't that interesting? When we stand up straight as an individual, standing tall, equalizing, we look at eye level of each other, right? That's equal position. Well, male slave was depicted as their eyes are bounding down. And this is a profile view, like looking from the sideline to see the eyeballs are kind of shifted like this. So it's somebody who is bowing down to show they are in submission. They're not going to fight. If it's a male slave, actually, they belong to you. They are your property. So, I mean, I'm glad today we don't live in slavery age. But back then, I guess slavery was common throughout the civilizations back then. And so this male slave eventually become the minister. Like they are almost powerful themselves, right? If especially they carry out this one man ruler's rule throughout the country, and the minister in relative to people who are below them in the whole pack order of the society, then they became powerful men. Like how do you see them starting from such a humble beginning as male slave? Because from the perspective of the ruler, which the language serves actually, the language, Chinese language, served not only like today we talk about literacy, right? But in ancient times, language serves power, whoever is in power. So language serves for the purpose of ruler. So from the ruler's one man singular perspective, everybody else is their slaves. So that's the political distance. Like it's totally not equal. Not everybody get one vote at all. It's this one man building, shaping the whole piece of land and people through the ministers. Um, and they are not in equal position at all. So uh, there are different ways that Chinese culture throughout millennia to make sure people understand their position. So Confucius teaching is one way. So everybody brainwashed the same way. So Chen, especially like male, right? Male in nature naturally want to break this pack order, want to be the alpha. But Confucius makes sure you know your position. You're never going to be the tip of the pyramid. And so intellectuals were educated and brainwashed, if you want to say that, from the early on, that they know their role is at most, if they're lucky, to get to be the male slave of the ruler to become a minister. Okay. 奸臣 is a Chinese way to say treacherous minister. Okay, what do you think is a treacherous minister? If we have such an expression, that means there is historical, incidents to be used to support this expression, treacherous minister. If they are already man slave, how can they be treacherous? That means they don't think they belong to you. They don't think they are your slave. They have other thoughts. Either they themselves want to be the man on the top, or they try to serve some other man to helping other man to become the tip of the pyramid. So 奸臣 is a Chinese, like a culturally, I guess, a not self-censored, but self-judging. Like whoever is not following the pack order, following the one singular man's rule, then you're going to become treacherous, culturally, morally judged. And you can see the psychological cost to whoever want to do that, right? So that's 奸臣. 臣子, okay, here, the male slave address themselves, or maybe the ruler address them as 臣子, as if you're my son. So it's more endearing, I guess, to get this father-son dynamic, to bring that into this political power difference. So this Chen minister, when you have the son in there, the relationship is not so contentious or not so much tension, like you're my male slave, that kind of thing. It's like more endearing. 臣服, minister, submissive. So as we know already, minister originally means male slave. So when you say male slave, submissive is to describe how submissive you are. You're submissive as if you're a slave. So that's 臣服. It's like giving up your right to fight, your right to be equal to your counterpart, to be like lower down, to be their slave. So that's 臣服. Normally in today's language context, 臣服 would be either two competitors, right, in a marketplace, or two countries. One become more submissive to the other. So one wield a certain, like outpowered somebody else, and then the other party, the defeated, the loser part would be 臣服. All right, so here is again from another historical drama screenshot of how Chen, the minister, will look like. You can see old beard man, dressed in different attire, have to look differently, and also positioned in the courtroom. Of course, the king, the one man ruler, on an elevated, like a big chair, right? And then stare down. So spatially placed below, right? And they kind of hunch, and totally unequal. So in that case, their body language already shows they are man slave, even if they climbed the social ladder to become the court, to be in part of the courtroom. And still, like, okay, the ruler has the right to kill them anytime, to execute them anytime, because he pissed off of something they say. So forever, these men, this man slave slash minister, were going to be so careful with what they say, how they say it, when they say it. That's kind of life death every day. Oh, okay. Highly stressful job. Why do you want to do that, right? Okay. So that's Chen minister back then. Thank you very much for your time. See you another day.